In this module, we will see case studies of deradicalization. Uh, Here we will take specifically India as a case study, where we can see that Hussein Haqqani, a noted Pakistani academician and political activist, concedes India's secular democratic constitution empowers the country's Muslim more than their co-religionists in Muslim majority states. Indian Muslims are able to elect and replace their rulers, in addition to influence public policy. As a minority, however, Indian Muslims cannot benefit from democracy without a coalition building. This needs to be established. Broad-based democratic conditions has acted as a check on radical and extremist ideologies, and as such, most orthodox and conservative Muslim groups use their political power to operate within democratic context. Those arrested while in transit to Islamic State were counseled and laid off, as we have seen in previous sessions that there were certain individuals who were indoctrinated or who were initiated in the process of radicalization, but they were identified, arrested, or they were counseled and they were reintegrated with the society. The anti-terrorism squad of the Maharashtra police started an anti-national anti-terrorist campaign in which around 25,000 college students enrolled. The Maharashtra government's deradicalization program, blocking websites with radical content. Marginalization of Muslim community attributed to the rise of Hindu nationalist forces in the country has often been singled out as the greatest factor leading to such radicalization. Deobandis attributes the decline of Islamic societies to Muslim being seduced by an immoral or materialistic Western culture, and from assorted Hindu practices believed to have crept into and corrupted the Islamic religion. Jamaat-e-Islami has been a dominant force in radicalization in Pakistan and Jammu and Kashmir. Internet created more opportunities for people to become radicalized, provided the people with an echo chamber and confirmation of their beliefs by others, and facilitated the process of radicalization. Muslims in India are branded as anti-national. On the other hand, any pro-Muslim policy or on part of government is labeled as appeasement, which plays a very significant role in creating polarization within particular society. The Sector Committee report highlights makers of Muslim identity, the burqa, the parda, the beard, and the topi, while adding to the distinctiveness of Indian Muslim have been a cause of concern for them in public realm. These makers have very often been a target for ridiculing the community as well as of looking upon them with suspicion. Muslim men donning a beard and a topi are often picked for an interrogation from public spaces like parks, railway stations, and markets. Hijab wearing Muslim women were finding it increasingly difficult to find jobs. The reports goes on to further comment on discrimination against Muslim in buying and renting accommodation in the locality of their choice. Mishra Commission report, which found that around 34.63% of Muslims lived in kacha or temporary houses, and 41.7 lived in semi-pakka or semi-permanent, while the figures are 6.68% and 49.67% respectively for the Sikhs. Similarly, the ratio of those living in rented houses was highest among the Muslims, which was 43.74%, and among minorities, only 78.78% of the Muslim household had electricity as a source of lighting, as compared to the Parsis, which had 99.21%, and Sikh, which was around 88.81%. The Sector Committee report also states that their Muslim identity is increasingly becoming an impediment in getting their children admitted to good educational institutions. So, at such background, when we try to understand that how India has tried to deal with the issue of rise of Islamic State at the global level, So we can see that counter-radicalization program based on ideological approaches are needed to be made applicable. The first task should be the identification of states where the Islamic radicalization seems to be more active than others. In such identified states, proper counter radicalization infrastructure should be created. Development of a counter narratives with the help of prominent religious leaders should be this next step towards countering radicalization. Such narratives should be spread widely through an effective use of social media platforms. The idea being to provide those in the process of being radicalized with a different perspective. Finally, to prevent radicalization, anti-radicalization program centered on societal and political approaches should be made effective. So, modernization of madrasas. Focus should be upon mainstreaming of the community rather than marginalizing it in the public discourse. So, counter-radicalization strategy of Ministry of Home Affairs devised a three-step approach towards ISIS related cases. Once the counter-radicalization strategy is formalized at the national level, the new approach will be adopted by individual states handling ISIS or radicalization related cases. Community outreach program undertaken by the police and other security agencies will reach out to schools, colleges, and set up helplines. So, in case of Maharashtra, Kerala, we have seen that how they have developed their own models while handling or while taking into consideration the local context while designing the de-radicalization program. Strategy must also focus on the following: causes of radicalization, of what drive these individuals in their decisions to embrace jihadist organization, and are the reasons of ideological hijrah, religious duty, or martyrdom, attraction, romantic version of war, guns, and heroism. Introduce de-radicalization program at the prison for the returning fighters, which would be crucial to disengage from religious indoctrination and violence. Highlight cases of de-radicalized individuals and more, make them part of counseling process.